Taijiquan Foundations, I introduce the basic concept that the foundation of Taijiquan is a specific way of using the body that involves whole body movement. In Volume 1, I presented the three basic components of whole body movement that are opening and closing, translation, and rotation. I also presented a variety of progressive exercises intended to help students experience each of these basic components, first individually in isolation and then in combination. While Volume 1 presented basics that apply to nearly any style of Taijiquan, this volume, Volume 2, narrows its focus by introducing one approach to how these basic components are combined and integrated to achieve the whole body movement, often associated with some branches of Chen-style Taijiquan. This integration has traditionally been referred to as silk reeling, or Qianxijing, and is the subject of this video. Consequently, this video builds upon and relies upon the material presented in Volume 1. Movement of the body can be described relative to three perpendicular planes. These are the sagittal plane, the frontal plane, and the horizontal plane. The intersection of any two of these planes defines a principal axis along which linear motion or translation can be described, and about which rotation can be described. As you will recall, translation and rotation are two of the three basic building blocks of whole body motion that were presented in Volume 1. One of the fundamental principles for the practice of Taijiquan is stated as when one part moves, all parts move. Or stated another way, when the dantian moves, the whole body moves. In Chen-style Taijiquan, the formal method for implementing that fundamental principle is called silk reeling, or qianci. The dantian is an important concept that is found in various aspects of Chinese culture, including traditional Chinese medicine, qigong, meditation, and Taijiquan. What exactly the dantian is and its function varies somewhat depending upon the context in which it is used. For practical purposes, certainly for beginning students of Taijiquan, it is sufficient to state that the dantian is simply the lower abdomen. In some branches of Chen-style Taijiquan, it is taught that there are three explicit techniques for achieving the ability when one part moves, all parts move. The first technique involves moving the abdomen, or the dantian, left and right in or parallel to the frontal plane. The second technique involves moving the abdomen, the dantian, forward and back in the sagittal plane. The third technique is simply the simultaneous combination of the other two techniques, occurring in any arbitrary plane, a special case of which occurs on the horizontal plane. The challenge in teaching this method is that it presupposes that the student already has any practical understanding of what is called the dantian, and how one physically moves the abdomen left and right, forward and back, or the combinations thereof. Without this, it again becomes simply a case of copying what the student can see, the overt external choreography. In this video, we start with simple exercises that are intended to introduce you to the three basic actions of the abdomen that form the basis for all that follows. Next, let's look at horizontal motion of the abdomen, forward and back. Stand with your feet facing more or less forward and about shoulder width apart. Contract your abdomen as if trying to pull your belly button towards your spine. Doing so will involve tilting of your pelvis and the elongation and flattening of your lower back, temporarily removing the natural curvature in your lower back. A simple qigong exercise can be performed that includes and helps train this action. With your palms facing you, your arms extended in front of your abdomen, contract your abdomen as if trying to pull your belly button towards your spine and flattening your lower back. As you do this, straighten your spine along its length and open your chest. Doing so pulls your arms inwards towards your abdomen. Inhale as you perform this action. While exhaling, relax, allowing your spine to curve or bow along its length, your chest to close, your abdomen to relax, and your pelvis to hang naturally, reintroducing the natural curvature in your lower back. This action also introduces what is called reverse breathing, inhaling while contracting the abdomen, and exhaling while relaxing and expanding the abdomen. The breathing should not expand the chest, and there should be no feeling of compression into the chest or head. The compression stays in the lower back. So far, we have looked at movement of the abdomen in a straight line, specifically translation along an axis that is horizontally forward and back, vertically up and down, or horizontally left and right. Next, we want to combine these actions 2 pairs at a time to create two-dimensional movement in a plane. The first planar action we will look at is movement of the abdomen forward and back and up and down. These actions can be performed in a sequence traversing a rectangle. We can start with the abdomen moved towards the back, then follow that with a vertical upward action of the abdomen, then a horizontal forward action, and finally a vertical downward action. A backward action returns us to our starting position. In Volume 1, I introduced the vertical circle. Let's revisit that exercise, using it as a vehicle to explore this motion. Start by standing with your feet shoulder-width apart and extend your arms in front of your abdomen, your palms facing each other. As was done previously in this video, move your abdomen horizontally towards your back by contracting your belly button towards your spine. This draws your hands inwards towards your torso. This is posture 1 in the vertical rectangle we are traversing. After sufficient practice of the segmented rectangle, the actions can be performed more fluidly, becoming a circular action. I started this video series by stating that one of the fundamental principles of Taijiquan is whole body motion. In Volume 1, I introduced the 3 basic building blocks of whole body motion: expansion, contraction, translation, and rotation. In this volume, Volume 2, I introduced the concept that there are 3 techniques for achieving the whole body motion found in, specifically, Chen-style Taijiquan. These techniques have to do with using the actions of the abdomen, the tian, to drive and coordinate the parts of the body in motion. That is, the use of the abdomen as the engine that drives the motion of the rest of the body. Next, we look at the motion of the abdomen, the engine itself. Specifically, looking at moving or translating the abdomen along each of the 3 primary axes, and we looked at sequencing these linear motions to perform rectangular actions on each of 3 primary planes. These rectangular actions of the abdomen form the basics for circular motions that are rotation in each plane about each of the 3 respective axes. Having looked at largely isolated actions of the abdomen, the next step in the progression is to look at how the motion of the abdomen is practically implemented to drive and coordinate the actions of the arms. The starting point for this implementation is the 2 single arm circles, the positive circle and the negative circle. These 2 circles are a traditional starting point in the curriculum for many Chen-style teachers and are often referred to as Chen Gong or silk rilling exercises. The 2 single arm circles, positive and negative, are the underlying foundation for most Taijiquan movements. The 2 single arm circles are whole body motions driven by the abdomen, the tian. The single arm circles embody the practical implementation of moving the tian left and right, and are the first of the 3 techniques for unifying the parts of the body in motion. That is, when one part moves, all parts move, or when the tian moves, the whole body moves. With 2 circles and 2 arms, there are 4 possible permutations: positive and negative with the right arm, and positive and negative with the left arm. The single arm circles are complex actions. To make it easier to understand these actions, I'll introduce them in progressive stages, starting with performing the circles as numbered rectangles. Introducing them as a sequence of 4 static postures, one at each corner of the rectangle, allows the actions to be taught, practiced, and corrected explicitly. After sufficient practice, the corners of the 4 segmented actions can be rounded to be performed as continuous circular motions. After sufficient practice, the precise actions can be relaxed and varied in accordance with the specifics of the style one practices. We'll start with the positive circle with the right arm. We will have the arm traverse a vertical rectangle parallel to the frontal plane. Start by extending your right arm in front of you, with your palm open and facing obliquely to your left and upwards. Your hand should be in front of your lower abdomen, on your center line, and in front of your abdomen by about the distance of your fist's width. This is posture 1. Next, let's add a weight shift to the previous actions. Start with posture 1 with about 70% of your weight on your left leg. Without shifting weight, turn your waist and lift your arm to posture 2. Next, let's add intent and energetics to the actions. In posture 1, the chest and abdomen are relaxed, allowing what traditionalists would say to sink qi to the tian. As you lift your arm to posture 2, your intent and qi go from the front of the abdomen, the tian, to the lower back, the men, and up the spine to the back of the right shoulder. The simultaneous turning of the waist presents the back of the shoulder, and one can have the intent of striking with the back of the shoulder, or jian kao. From the back of the shoulder, the intent and qi travel to the elbow. One can have the intent of striking with the elbow, the action zhou. From the elbow, the intent and qi travel to the fingers. Next, let's look at the negative circle with the right arm. As with the positive circle, we will begin by identifying the arm positions by traversing a rectangle with the arm. For the negative circle, we will begin with your right palm facing upwards at shoulder height in front of your chest and along your center line. This is posture 1. In posture 1, although your hand is held at shoulder height, your chest is relaxed and closed slightly, allowing qi to sink to the dantian. The back of the right shoulder is presented and can have the intent of using the action to strike with the back of the shoulder. As you rotate the waist back to the front, the intent and qi go from the back of the right shoulder to the right elbow, which can have the intent of striking with the elbow. The single-handed circles, the positive and negative circle, are the primary implementation of the first technique for coordinating the parts of the body in motion. That is, when one part moves, all parts move. The first technique is to move the dantian left and right. As we have seen, the dantian can be translated along a line left and right, and it can be moved in a circular motion on the frontal plane. This circular motion is simply a rectangular action whose corners have been rounded. We also defined the opposite twisting action, which created supination of the hand, as being the negative direction of rotation. In traditional language, this is referred to as shun. Performing a negative or shun direction rotation with both arms simultaneously looks like this. Note that the right arm twists in the clockwise direction, while the left arm twists counterclockwise. While Shun and Ni are often translated into English as clockwise and counterclockwise, It should be clear that this is both confusing and inaccurate, and translating them this way should be avoided. In performing a positive or negative circle, the arm moves in a circular path. This circular action can be called revolution. While the arm is traversing this circular path, the arm twists first in one direction for half of the circle, and then twists in the other direction for the other half of the circle. This twisting action, superimposed on the circular revolution, can be called rotation. During the top half of the positive circle, the arm moves upwards and outwards. During this portion of the circle, the arm and hand twist to perform a positive or Ni rotation. It is energy going out from the center to the hand. During the lower half of the circle, the arm and hand perform a negative or Shun rotation. It is energy returning from the hand to the center. As I've presented the circles, there is constant twisting rotation of the arm throughout each circular revolution. In 1963, the seminal book Chen Style Taijiquan was published in Chinese. Perhaps the most well-known item from the book is the enigmatic diagram that accompanied an academic discussion of Chen style silk reeling. The diagram depicts hands tracing a Tai Chi symbol. In the years since the book was published, many non-Chen practitioners created, practiced, and published exercises that involve tracing Tai Chi diagrams with their hands and feet, incorrectly believing that tracing Tai Chi diagrams is how Chen-style practitioners learn or practice silk reeling. What many did not understand is that what the diagram depicts is simply one positive circle and one negative circle joined with a transition. If we look at the diagram in pieces, it becomes obvious. The diagram starts at point 1 at the bottom of the diagram. This is also posture 1 at the bottom of the positive circle, and is the transition between Shun and Ni twisting of the arm and hand. So far, we have looked at performing circles with a single arm at a time. When those same circles are performed with two arms at the same time, they are referred to as double arm circles. There are 8 common ways in which two single arm circles can be combined. These and minor variations of these form the foundation for most of the two-handed movements found in Taijiquan. Next, we will look at both arms performing a positive circle, but out of phase. That is where the circles of each arm are 2 numbers apart in the sequence. The right arm performs a positive circle, out at the top and in at the bottom, and the left arm also performs a positive circle. The right arm starts with posture 1 with the right hand in front of the abdomen on your center line. The left arm starts with posture 3 with your left hand in front of your shoulder. Many will recognize this as the form movement called cloud hands. Next, we will look at the right arm performing a positive circle while the left arm performs a negative circle, with the 2 circles out of phase. Start with your right arm at posture 1 of the positive circle, your right hand in front of your abdomen, and your left arm at posture 3 of the negative circle, your left hand facing outward past your left hip. Complete the circles by returning your right arm to posture 1 of the positive circle and your left arm to posture 3 of the negative circle, while shifting about 70% of your weight back to your left leg. The primary action of the dantian in this exercise is technique 1, moving the dantian side to side in the frontal plane. The arm circles with all of their combinations can be performed while stepping. As we have seen, the single-handed positive circle can be performed divided into 4 distinct segments. The addition of stepping does not change how the circle is performed. The most basic method of stepping involves advancing with the same leg as the circling arm on the transition from posture 4 to posture 1 of the positive circle. As with stepping with both arms performing out-of-phase positive circles, the stepping with out-of-phase negative circles is coordinated with the actions of the forward arm. With a minor variation in the hand position of posture 1 of the rear arm, the action should be recognizable as the form posture brush knee. The last example we will look at in this video is stepping with the positive and negative circle out of phase. As in the previous example, stepping with the forward leg is coordinated with the transition from posture 4 to posture 1 of the forward arm, and stepping with the rear leg is coordinated with the transition from posture 2 to posture 3 of the forward arm. A variation of the same stepping is to step forward on the toe of the forward leg rather than on the heel. Doing so allows the straightening of the leg to be used to attack the front or side of an opponent's knee. This action can be coordinated with the waist turning in the opposite direction while pulling on the opponent's arm, such as in response to an opponent's strike. In this video, I have presented a very specific way of performing the 2 basic circles, positive and negative. Each of the 2 circles can be described by 4 specific characteristics. Varying how these 4 characteristics are performed gives rise to the variations that distinguish one style of Taijiquan from the others. For discussion purposes, let's look at these 4 characteristics for the positive circle. One of the things that can be varied in performing the circles is where in the top half of the circle the beginning and ending of the transition from positive to negative rotation occurs. For example, in some styles the palm remains facing the torso, negative rotation, until nearly at posture 3, where the rotation of the arm occurs relatively quickly rather than a continuous change beginning at posture 1. This is common in some Yang style variants. In the positive circle I've presented in this video, the sequence from posture 2 to posture 3 is to lead with the back, then the elbow, then the hand. Performed this way, the motion of the elbow occurs before the motion of the hand. In other words, the elbow leads the hand forward and raise the hand itself. Instead of having the sequence of shoulder, elbow, then hand, extend the arm leading with the hand, the elbow remaining unlifted. What this does is change the intent of the action as well as the physical mechanics of the action. It eliminates from the sequence in the positive circle that I have shown in this video. During the lower half of the circle, the elbow is drawn inward, effectively dragging the hand after it. That is, the elbow leads the hand. One variation is to lead with the hand rather than the elbow in the action between postures 3 and 1, and is often seen performed that way in variations of Yang style Taijiquan. The distinction between the hand leading the elbow and the elbow leading the hand is very obvious in the practice of long weapons such as the pole or spear. For example, when retracting the weapon, the elbows lead the hands, drawing in the elbows first, followed by the hands. When extending the weapon, the hands lead the elbows. In many actions in empty hand practice, force is developed in a similar sequence: out with the hands, in with the elbows. Horizontal actions are, essentially, simply positive and negative circles performed with little or no vertical component. The physical mechanics behind the actions remain the same.